Welcome to Total Disclosure by Pop Culture Corner. Tonight's topics are ancient aliens, real or hoax. That show that everybody makes fun of, the meme that people can't get enough of George Sokolos or whatever his goddamn name is. Him with the alien face thing or alien hands. That meme. Yes, that one. Is that theory? Is there any legitimacy to it? I guess we'll find out, or at least we'll discuss it tonight on Total Disclosure. That plus a new interview from Linda Moulton Howe, which is a pretty famous UFO researcher. She did all the stories on the cattle mutilations back in the 90s. She interviewed Christopher Mellon, and it was something. It was something to complex the UFO community. So we'll dive into that, and then another article about what the future coming things are in the community amongst the 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 news to break and what's the next shoe to drop. We'll get into that all tonight on Total Disclosure. Let's go. All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Total Disclosure by Pop Culture Corner. I'm here with our co-host, Lil Pop Tart, aka Brown Sugar Pop Tart, aka Strawberry Pop Tart, aka S'mores Pop Tart. What's going on,
Yes,
dude?
sir. What's going on, bro?
Nothing much, nothing much. Listen, you ever watch that fucking show, Ancient Aliens?
Yeah, I've watched it a few times. I haven't seen every single episode, but I like it for the most part. It's got some, a little bit of truth to it.
I do. Listen, I'm not quick to throw it away. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah,
I think the show, definitely, you know, they need to go 15 seasons, right? So they need to have content to produce. So they might stretch certain things just to get
yeah,
like they talk about the Anunnaki in every single fucking episode. Every
yeah,
single episode, somehow the Anunnaki get brought up. It's the basis for the whole claim, the whole support system like is falls on that aspect of it. So
mm,
Eric von Daniken, for people who don't know, he was never into UFOs, never into supposedly never into any of like the otherworldly stuff except religion. He was studying as like a apprentice, like pastor or whatever they call them, uh, and he just like started hearing or seeing it all across all religions. Like they're all telling the same stories, and they're not telling stories of divine intervening. They're talking about common UFO abductions, common UFO sightings, like that. It can all correlate. And honestly, there's some fucking correlation to what he says in some aspects. There's a lot of things that like you kind of take a second guess at. But I think the show also does a disservice to human ingenuity. Like someone said in the comments already, it does like they're like, oh fucking this geologist is an idiot. Like it's they kind of like downplay human how capable humans are when they need to be, and I think that's a problem for me.
yeah. I mean, they always say too that their catchphrase is "ancient
Actually,
astronaut theorists suggest." They always say the
yeah,
ancient
oh
astronaut
yeah,
theorists
yeah.
suggest or theorize,
Yeah. Or I like when it
whatever.
goes. I like when they say, it's like, is this like, for instance, this is not a real line from the show. I'm not. I'm just
Yeah,
making this up. Uh, aliens are real. Ancient alien theorists say yes.
Yeah, yeah, that's how they talk though. That's
And Kavari, actually, life did not start in Africa. Uh, well, I don't know. I guess which life are we talking
I'm
about?
not.
The first
That's what we're
civilization.
gonna talk about tonight for sure.
Yeah. No, no, no. Well, yeah, okay. If we're talking about, I'm talking about like civilization.
Yeah,
So
modern.
that started in with the ancient Sumerians, and that was in like what we call Iraq. Um, but yeah, so I mean, if we want to talk about like biological life and like life, that would be the Yucatan Peninsula, I believe, right?
What is it?
The Yucatan, the most people say, or I believe,
Oh, where we started?
where life in general started, like the if this is one of the many theories that an asteroid struck the Yucatan, where the Yucatan Peninsula is,
Okay.
and potentially that's where life seeded. That's one of the theories.
Hmm.
Obviously, we don't know for sure, uh,
Yeah.
but I think there's a lot. Listen, even before I swear to God, even before I saw ancient alien theory or like ancient astronaut theory was an actual thing, I always thought it was kind of weird that all religions tell this similar story of like a flood, of a prophet. It's all the same fundamental, like hero versus villain kind of bullshit.
Hmm.
Um, and otherworldly beings, like
Yeah.
they talk about it all, and no one wants to correlate that maybe it's not all fables. Maybe because with every good folk tale, there's some truth to it, right? That's what
There's
makes
got
it
to
a
be
good
some.
story.
Right.
And there's a lot of shit that ancient aliens came up with. Like the first, I suggest like the first 4 seasons, that was
Okay.
the real ancient aliens is like the movie, because ancient aliens was actually a movie first. I don't even
Damn.
Yeah, it was actually a little documentary movie
Hmm.
first, about the Eric von Daniken like ancient astronaut theory,
Right.
and then they spun it off into a larger show. That's why in the first
Damn.
couple episodes it says Ancient Aliens the series,
Yeah.
because there was a documentary of the same topic that happened a little bit before. But I mean, what do you think? Do you think that Do you think that aliens actually came here in our distant past and negated, or not negated, intervened in our development, and you
Yeah.
know
So I believe 100% that some advanced extraterrestrial race came here while we were Homo sapiens, some sort of monkeys, and genetically modified or sped up our DNA and sped up our evolution. And I just sent you 2 screenshots from boblazar.com, which I don't know if that is his official website. I think his official website's more like into scientific nuclear,
Yeah, I'm pretty
you
sure
know,
his is
stuff.
into his own fireworks.
But this is to just, I guess, telling his story and stuff. And what it talks about is whenever he was briefed into Area 51, um, in the briefing, it talks about how they've been helping with our evolution for the last 10,000 years, and what's else to say? And at least 15 years of direct technology exchange between extraterrestrial beings and the scientists at S4. So yeah, I believe that they've been here since long before even probably dinosaurs.
You think they were here before a lot of ancient alien
Absolutely.
theorists say that the they think that the aliens experimented with different forms of life,
Yeah.
and the dinosaurs were a good candidate, but they were
Hmm.
just too fucking they were too wild. Like
Yeah.
they were never gonna get to
Unintelligent.
yeah, they were too merciless. They had no If they
That's
evolved
possible.
into yeah, and they did what they could do to us right now. They went up to the asteroid belt. They picked one of many numerous fucking space junk that's big
Yeah.
enough to fucking not destroy the world, but just everything on it, and
Yeah.
sent it right down. Right? Boom. See you later, dinosaurs. Fucking clean slate. Let's go. And that's
Yeah.
like, listen. If the dinosaurs didn't die, we don't make it. We would
Well,
not be here. If the dinosaurs thrived, they were definitely the king. They were the top of the food chain. We
yeah.
would never have thrived or survived in that kind of situation. It's just not
No,
possible or plausible.
but I mean, now that we have this technology, like what we live streamed the other day, with deflecting the asteroid, hopefully we will soon. And it's like I grew up in private religious, Lutheran school and stuff. So I learned about religion, and I grew up, basically Pentecostal, non-denominational. So I learned about a lot of religion growing up, and you know, I always had my skepticism, especially growing up, like as a teenager and young adult in my 20s. I started to be a little skeptical about it, but at the end of it, I still think that there has to be some amount of truth to it. And I think a lot of it was misinterpreted as extraterrestrials, like the Star of Bethlehem, for instance, could have definitely been an
That's a good.
orb. Sorry.
That's a very good
Yeah,
case study right
the
there.
burning bush
Burning bush
also,
also could
and
people have the fucking what's his name, the sheriff.
Noah,
No,
the
the sheriff.
sheriff.
Out in fucking. It's a more Lonzo.
Oh, you're talking about pretty recently, like in the 60s, 70s
Yeah.
type. Yeah,
Fuck.
yeah,
What's
yeah.
his name? Oh, it's gonna
I'm
drive
not.
me.
I'm not. Yeah, I can look it up, but
Whatever.
apparently there.
He described how the ground singed after this craft took off. Now, could that be a burning bush? Could that be interpreted, or like some interpretation of? Although they also say the burning bush could have been like
It could have
DMT.
been an orb though. Like many UFOs are in the shape of an orb, and that's just basically a ball of light. So
So do you think, like, and even in medieval paintings,
yeah,
which we've talked about on the show, even before you were part of the show,
okay,
we've looked at medieval paintings and
yeah,
how they obviously couldn't come out and say what it actually is, because if they
yeah,
did, the church would have killed them, because that's the way the church was run back then, at least the Catholic Church. If you stood against them in any way in their narrative, you were put to death. That's just that was life.
yeah.
So they painted it into their paintings, what they were seeing, as the clues to the what they
They
were seeing in the sky. And then when asked what they were, by their peers, oh, it's the sun. Oh, it's
mm,
it's an interpretation of this and this. But they're clearly fucking UFOs, dude. Like the dog is looking up at it.
yeah. Well, like okay, so the reason why they painted them is because we didn't have photography until 1860, until the 1800s. But the
Oh
very
yeah,
first
yeah,
ever
yeah.
photograph of a UFO was 1870, and guess what shape it was?
Yeah,
Fucking
saucer, an
cigar
orb.
shaped. It was in the shape of a cigar, and it was like
Was it a cigar?
1870. Yep.
Oh yeah, it was a
I sent you
cigar. It
the
was like a
link. I sent you the
streaking.
link just a minute ago. But I
But it
also
could
sent
be.
you.
Well, the
Uh,
first photo, you'd have to. Well, you couldn't say that it was a cigar shape because of the frame rate that the camera was running at that
yeah.
time was so slow that it was
Yeah.
capturing such a fast moving object at such a slow rate that it would almost distort the
But
form of it. So yes, it appears to be cigar shaped, but I bet it was more of a saucer.
maybe the I don't know if the witness described it as cigar shaped or not. I don't know what the witness described it as, but I mean it just proves, bro. I was reading a story too about I sent you the link about Elvis. One of his sightings was a cigar shaped object, and that book, the book that says that was written in 2005, long before the Tic Tac story or any of the government military videos had been released, long before that. So the stories of cigar shaped objects. They very well could have been, even if they are man-made now, they could also be ET as well.
Yeah. And think about the Giza pyramids.
Oh
What
yeah,
purpose do they
exactly. The
serve?
Egyptians, bro, the Egyptians were 100% in direct contact with extraterrestrials, just like with me, and just like many people with CE5 do, just like with Indians, what they did and still do,
Well, we have
except
to call their Native Americans.
yeah. So they've been on, but
The
they have
Native
stronger
Americans talk
relationships.
about fucking like the Hopi tribe of
They talk about like they're
Arizona.
direct descendants of these
Yeah,
star people,
and
and they've
and
been talking about it for a long time,
and
forever.
and how they came out and saved them during the last Great Reset. You know,
Yeah,
they
I believe it.
basically the ant people or
Okay, the insect-like beings,
the ant beings came
the
out from
mantis beings, whatever.
yeah, they came out of they came out of the earth
Damn,
and brought the people underground until
what
the
the fuck?
calamity was over, and then brought them back out, and like that was the birth of that was the rebirth of civilization, basically.
Well, they
um
definitely have that technology because we know now that they're trans-Terranian. They can go through mountains and go through the ground, UFOs, and you know,
I mean,
we're the only
it,
civilization that hasn't had American Western civilization is the only civilization that hasn't had direct contact, open contact with ETs. Every other human civilization besides ours has had contact, direct contact, open contact with ETs.
it's a weird thought because it's a weird thought because if this is really happening, if millions, because Greer likes to make it out to be like it's thousands and thousands upon millions of people around the world are making contact
They probably are.
every single day, yet
I know that.
nobody's yet yet we haven't have the smoking gun yet.
Yeah.
Um,
I
so
think we do
I
have the
think people
smoking
are
gun.
upset about it.
I think we have a lot of smoking guns. You know, I look at each piece of any evidence that's real as a smoking gun. I mean, it's just like people. If someone's gonna always be a skeptic or a denier or whatever, then you really can't convince them. There's never gonna be a good enough video or photograph. I think to convince them.
Yeah, I think we're past that point of
I
the photograph or video evidence. I
there's
think
so
what we
much of
really
it.
need is physical evidence.
Yeah, or something like that. You're already a believer in UFOs and stuff, so it won't be hard for you to accept CE5 as being real. You know what I'm saying? Or contact in general just being real.
Right.
Because you know that people do have contact experiences, whether they even if they don't ask for it, they have random sightings. So
Right.
of course it makes sense that there has to be a way somehow to make contact, initiate it yourself, and to do it yourself, and that's what I was looking for
That's
the few
and
months
that's for you.
before.
C5 is a way
Yeah,
to make peaceful contact with this civilization that for all. Do you think that you're in contact with one civilization or
no,
many?
many, bro, because I've seen many different orbs, many different crafts,
Well,
many different shapes, and
humans have a plethora of different vehicles.
yeah, well, it's possible that it's only one, ET, but I feel like
What
I
if
never had
each
the
one of
feeling
us has our own you know our
person
own
or our
our
own
own yeah,
basically
an
that's supposed to.
interceptor,
Yeah, well, we kind of do, and like
our
how I think I
guardian angel, if you will, to tie it into
basically
today's.
they watch over all of us, so they really are, and like in biblical times they have often been misinterpreted as angels. They're Once you get to level 9 civilization, you're at considered an angelic being, and you're at a celestial level of intelligence and of evolution. So yeah, they can literally be misinterpreted as angels.
Imagine that. Imagine,
Or
because like in my, you got to think about it though. With the
yeah,
they just didn't have a word for it at the time,
yeah,
right? So they mounted it to what they knew, and they knew
always,
what they knew was divine. The divine intervention, the
yeah,
God. Like it's so easy to misinterpret it, and what we mistake as, I mean, not mistake, what we mistook
yeah,
as divine was actually, you know, extraterrestrial in nature or interdimensional in nature
but still
or
mortal,
ultradimensional.
still
Yeah.
like us.
Yes. It's like
Just
you know,
technology.
Just
we
yes,
didn't
it was
understand technology
misinterpreted
back then.
technology. Do you
Yeah,
think that the pyramids, because there is some really cool stuff when it comes to the pyramids and ley lines and um
so
you
cool.
know how
Love
they
the
all line
pyramids.
up, all the I mean, if you think about it, the Pyramid of Giza is located right in the middle of the world.
I got King Tut or some pharaoh. I don't think it's King Tut specifically tattooed on me. But yeah, I love the pyramids. That's like my number one place I want to go, bro. Is Egypt. If I could do CE5 there, we can make a fucking video doing CE5 there. You know that they say that at the top of the pyramids is literal energy, and that there's theories
Well, yes,
that
pyramids.
pyramids are like time machines or
Well,
UFOs themselves.
the Russians have built modern pyramids, and they
Yeah,
say that the energy in them is different. Like
yeah,
they can, like, because people have wondered what the pyramids were for. Like no one can, not even the brightest Egyptologists can tell you what the fucking pyramids were
no,
actually for,
or
because
how they were made.
or how they were actually made, because
Yeah,
it's not even conceivable how like a 7-ton stone could be not only carved to perfection but placed at to perfection, in absolute perfection,
it's insane.
mathematically, astronomical, astrologically. um there's so much advanced craftsmanship to
Yeah.
that set of great pyramids that it is
It's
unconceivable.
impossible for human hands to do that. At the bare minimum, we had help from extraterrestrials. If the ETs didn't do it themselves and build it themselves, we at least had a lot of help from them.
And they reflect famously, there's a lot of pyramids that reflect Orion, or Orion's belt, I should
Yeah,
say.
yeah, yeah.
um line up with the constellation of Orion.
Exactly.
So do you think that Orion and Sirius are, are our biggest contenders for where life might, if
No, I
once we
think
do hear about it?
I think every single star probably has life on one of the planets at least. Because I think even it's possible even in our solar system, we still don't know where the closest life is, but we're learning that it actually might be Earth, and most likely is Earth. That at least some. But as far as off-planet ETs, that not on Earth and not from another dimension, so to speak,
So
could
to
be.
vodka, to this person
Yeah,
who has, because I love when people try to call me a conspiracy theorist.
yeah. I
Um,
hate conspiracy theories, bro. I hate them.
for instance, tomorrow I'm having on Stephen Bassett of the
Right.
Paradigm Research Group,
Yeah.
um, to interview him. I'm friends with Kevin Day of the USS Nimitz
Yeah.
encounter. Uh, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but we do,
Hell
like to
no.
have content, and you
Yeah.
know, it's fun to talk about these things, and there's so much to talk about, like the ancient alien theory. Like, yeah, it's, of course, it's overstretched, but there could be some truth to it. Like I said, with every folklore, there's at least some truth to it. So to have the conversation is not a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
It
I
is
don't think it's
a
a theory.
discussion amongst peers. So
Mhm.
you personally can you know I don't care what you think. So yeah. Anyway,
Yeah. I think that I'm already past the level after making contact. You get to that confirmation point, but it's been this this last almost a year now since I've made contact that I've had to like reflect on it, right? And that's been good for me because I've been able to accept it and to just continue living life and being as normal as possible, but living with it and accepting it and learning what to do next and what thinking about everything. It's really so I think that they're obviously millions, possibly millions of years advanced than us, so that means that that's how much older they are than us. So they were here millions of years ago if they've had that technology for so long.
right. And for me, I think that humans, I think we're naturally spiritual beings, right? Like
Yeah, of course.
we're you know the ability for us, like, why are we so different from every other species on this planet? I think it's
Intelligence,
because, where did that come from? Seemingly, it
the
came out.
ETs.
No, I don't. We can't say that.
That's my
we
belief, though. You know,
that's
that.
that's what this guy means by conspiracy theorist, though, is
But
you cannot say that with confidence.
I
But
can,
it
because
is
if you look,
peculiar. It is peculiar how, because everyone likes to say how similar our DNA is to everyone else on this planet,
yeah,
but the actual key is the main difference in ours
mm,
versus theirs. There's this one specific gene, I can't remember what it is, but there's one specific gene that sets us apart from every other species on this planet, and it's almost this ability to to believe in God and question your own existence. It's basically the gene for consciousness, if you would think about it. And I think that in itself is a beautiful thing. And we cannot be the only planet or the only circumstance in the universe that this happened to. And for people like Neil deGrasse Tyson, who have these, who literally, by the way, Neil deGrasse Tyson, I love you. You're a homie, but and you started your journey talking about and funding a project into studying something people said didn't exist and wasn't even possible. They called it a pseudoscience, black holes, and that whole sphere of things.
yeah,
You fought for it, something that you now can fucking hold your head high upon and firmly say that you helped discover the truth of. Now, when it comes to UFOs, you disregard it, just like you were disregarded. I find that to be fucking laughable. Laughable. A guy like that, oh my god, he
it's a
should be
damn
the,
shame.
because if it is a shame. A guy like that could really lend credence to this topic.
Yeah. I looked up to him, bro. I really looked up to him my childhood. Same with Bill Nye. He turned out to be a UFO denier too, and that's why, I get so upset and sometimes over this, because it's like people like that I really looked up to just come out here and deny so many people, millions of people that have seen these, and you know, it's honestly disrespectful.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just typing something out. So there was this article that came out in the, what is it called? The Truth Liberation Times. Never heard of them. I've been a registered journalist for a long time. I've never heard of this um, uh, uh, site, but I thought their article was kind of cool, so I kind of wanted to check it out with you guys. So the what like about articles and what I like about a good article is its ability to draw you in. This headline, it draws you in. A change is coming. UFOs and where we may be heading in the months ahead. Right? It's that's those are the articles I like to read. At least in the modern times, because I hate news and shit, because it's all bad. Like, it's all terrible shit. So anything in the news about UFOs, I'm always like, yes, finally someone's picking it up.
Yeah,
So we'll read it a little bit. Whilst the war in Ukraine escalates, things seem quieter than usual when it comes to UAP. However, the movement continues to occur behind the scenes. I'm not going to lie, the past couple months have seen a little bit of a decline in UAP news and advancement, I guess, in the field. There's been a couple, earth shattering interviews like with Gary Nolan, but other than that, nothing too much. I get, and we just deflected an asteroid. That was cool. But um, so between now and December, we may see further amendments to the NDAA and IAA, potentially tightening and adding to the current UAP language. Um, and as Dean Johnson recently posted, there's some possibility that the IAA is attached to the NDAA, meaning both pieces of legislation pass at the same time. As for midterm races, Democrats are slightly favored to retain the Senate, whilst Republicans are slightly favored to win the House. If correct, then Representative Mike Turner, who represents and has a close relationship with Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, would become chair of the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. And I think that would be, he would replace Rubio, right?
I guess so, bro. I mean, Rubio's big into the UFOs, but I feel
That's what I
like,
mean. However, it must be stressed that his views on UAP are not known publicly. So we don't know how this guy's gonna, uh, uh, move this forward,
yeah,
or if moving forward at all. We could see a complete walk back of a lot of things. It's happened many times.
yeah,
Another politician to keep a close eye on, is Senator Marco Rubio, vice chair. Oh, he's the vice chair of the Senate Intelligence
yeah,
Committee. There's
yeah,
so many of the fucking acronyms and shit. It's so hard to
yeah.
keep a
He'll
track
still
of.
be there.
And a
I
leading
know.
advocate for previous USP legislation, he faces a tight race in Florida. By the way, I do want to say this: my heart and thoughts are out for the tragedy, the tragic number of deaths in Florida with that hurricane that ravaged the area. Um, you're from Florida, aren't you?
I have family in Florida. My aunt and uncle and my cousins. They're in Panama City, but they're pretty safe.
All right, so yeah, I mean, that's like legitimate stuff. So,
Yeah.
um, shout out to all the first responders. Um, so apparently, Marco Rubio faces a tight race in Florida and could potentially lose to Democrat Val Demings. Demings is a member of the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence and attended the classified hearing on UAP in May 2022. So the ones that they're talking about are the behind
Mm.
closed doors ones. Can you read the next piece of the article so I can
I
um,
I'll have to read it off my iPad.
I'm gonna
Give me
I'll,
give me a give me a second.
I'm just gonna grab my drink. So
Here we go. Okay, which line are you on? About Marco Rubio. The Are you on the quote?
all right. No, I'll just keep going.
Okay.
Demings is a member of the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence and attended classified hearings. Those are the ones behind closed doors, for anyone who didn't know. As a former chief of police, there's nothing I take more seriously than the safety and security of the American people. We will always investigate any potential threats from our adversaries. So that's a key word, guys. Adversaries. These extraterrestrial vehicles, or UFOs, UAPs, whatever the fuck you want to call them, they are not adversaries, and we need to stop labeling them as such. The top goal of this investigation are seriousness, transparency, and national security. There's that moneymaker. There's that money making buzzword right there. National security. Just because something is unidentified doesn't mean that it's unidentifiable. And truth must always be a precondition to good policy. That I do agree with. Truth must always be a precondition to good policy. Because if it's not truthful, then the policy is obviously not going to work, nor is it going to be able to be enforced properly. So by treating this issue seriously, working with Pentagon experts, uh, that seems like a conundrum there. A Pentagon expert, they
Yeah.
don't see. It's like saying that like the smartest dumbass, um, and empowering witnesses and hard evidence. We can find answers, ensure the integrity of American airspace. It's really not ours, but yep. Counter global threats and keep Americans safe at home and abroad. I will continue to work with the Pentagon and our intelligence agencies on this important issue. Um, so apparently, I guess they're saying that's Val Deming's statement in correspondence to what they would do if in office.
Yeah.
Um, so Liberation Times understands that any expected public report. So basically, guys, this month, by the end of the month, there's a report that is due by to Congress by the three-letter agencies and such and so forth. It's due every single year for at least I think 5 or 10 years, and it's due at the end of the month. This month every year for the next whatever. So, do you think we're going to advance the ball anymore? Do you think we're going to get
Not
any
at all.
new? Because the
I mean,
we do
I
know
don't
that the
have.
DoD has denied John Greenwald Jr. of the Black Vault. Any
Really?
Yeah, any video evidence of UFOs under a blanket statement saying that no more UFO videos are going to come out because they could compromise national security.
Wow, I heard they said that. I read that quote. I posted Tim Burchett talking about the quote. I didn't know that's what it stemmed from,
So
though, bro. Fascinating.
I had John Greenwald Jr. I can show you him saying yes to coming on the show. And
Really?
then all that shit happened. He got
Oh,
the and then all that shit happened with him and Lou Elizondo, and
what?
now I can't get in touch with them.
What happened with him and Lou Elizondo? I'm out
They
of the
are
loop, bro. I've been out of the loop in the UFO shit, I feel like.
what do you mean, dude? You're the one who sent me the video of
No,
the
that wasn't
John
oh, was
Greenwald is in that video.
is he?
Yes.
I thought that was a different video.
No,
There's another.
John Greenwald Jr. is like the main guy who's questioning Lou Elizondo.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought that was
Oh my god.
there's
Like
one with the
they
basement. I
they
see one
even
with
did it.
the basement office, the basement files.
There was
There's a
even a early interview that John Greenwald Jr. did with Lou Elizondo, and like
wow.
the interview was actually really good. They like exchanged charities like that. Like it was a really good interview. And then it
Yeah.
wasn't until later that Greenwald Jr. like obtained some
Exposed him.
extra knowledge
Yeah.
or figured something out that no one else knows. And I don't know, the whole Lou Elizondo thing blows my mind. I don't know what the
Yeah.
actual truth of it is. I do know Elizondo definitely was a part of something that studied UFOs. I don't know if he was the leader. I don't know if he was the director. I don't know if he was just a janitor. I know he was there.
Yeah.
He has too many contacts and too much pull to not have been involved in something related to what he is saying. Do I necessarily believe everything he says? No, and I don't think we should. The guy's literal job for the US government for most of his career was counterintelligence. Right? This guy breathes lies and disinformation for the US government on a daily basis. Not really, because counterintelligence is really, I mean, counterintelligence is gathering information that the enemy knows about you. So, when I say he's sowing the seeds of disinformation, I mean that he tries to spread misinformation so that the enemy will pick it up, and if they get that information back, they know that they have a leak. So, like the counterintelligence officers do those kind of things, those tactics where they release fake things.
Yeah.
And some people say that some of the shit Bob Lazar read and saw were fake.
Like in his
After
briefings.
In the briefings, yes. And then because they gauge your reaction, so that's where you get the whole Zeta Reticuli story. Like
Um.
that they knew that they were from Zeta Reticuli. They
Yeah.
knew.
But people deny Bob Lazar this whole story too. You know what I'm saying? They deny people. There's people that will deny everything forever. You know what I'm saying? There's always going to be like another side,
Do you
no
think
matter
Lazar is
what.
telling the absolute truth?
I mean, yeah, well, I believe that he 100% worked on, saucers. I mean, everything else, like, where, like, it really doesn't even matter. Like, I believe that part is true, and that's really the only part that matters. Is, did he work at Area 51, work on reverse engineering alien spacecraft? And yeah, I do. I mean,
Oh,
it's
what's that
impossible
picture?
for it
Is
not to
that a
happen.
key card picture?
No, that's a picture. Oh yeah, down there. That it looks like it, but that
Why can't I see it?
that over in the right hand side is the paragraph that talks about
I went to
him being briefed.
MIT. I went to MIT trying to get records of him.
Oh really?
Yeah, they wouldn't let me in.
But yeah, it says the briefings presented an overview of aliens externally correcting our evolution over the last 10,000 years and at least 15 years of direct technology exchange between extraterrestrial beings and the scientists at S4.
And we know that So, but we know that Bob Lazar did actually work at Los
Yeah,
Alamos Labs. S4, he was, Bob Lazar knew exactly about the flights. The what were they called?
the
The
test flights.
no, 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 not at all.
What?
The flights that they took from the airport into Area 51 were called the something
Oh,
flights. Oh, the Janet flights. The Janet flights
oh,
that they
I
had to.
didn't hear about those.
Yeah, he knew about those. The only reason the public even knew what Area 51 was because Bob Lazar. People forget
Yeah,
that. He's the reason the public knows what Area 51 is. If and the government didn't fucking they didn't admit that it was a real thing until 2013. 2013.
yeah.
We knew that that place existed because of Bob Lazar. People
He
forget that.
he created the public pressure, bro, which I think is the reason why we have a lot of the
Element
evidence we
115.
have today. I don't think that the Tic Tac and everything like that wouldn't have happened without Greer and unacknowledged, but also without Lazar starting in the '80s, and whenever and telling his stories since then.
Yeah,
I
look,
think he created a lot.
Element 115
Yeah.
is real. Bob Lazar
See,
said so
that's the
in
one
the
thing I
80s.
don't necessarily know or believe is true or not. I believe that for
No,
that exact
it's
ship, he probably did use something like that. But I don't think every single extraterrestrial craft is going to be required to have that. It just one makes it
oh
much
yeah.
sense.
I don't think all of them run on
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
that's all I say.
So we're gonna watch next up on Total Disclosure, our last subject of the night, guys. Because tonight I do have I do need to get prepared. Fuck, I can't talk tonight. I do have to get prepared for Mr. Bassett tomorrow. Um, Unfortunately, it is going to be a one-on-one interview with me and Steven. Mr. Pop Tart will be producing, so he'll be running the comment section because I bet we'll have a little bit more engagement tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern on a Sunday with my man, dude. I mean, if you guys don't know who Stephen Bassett is, I would definitely look up who he is. He did like the second version of Stephen Greer's and National Press Club event. He's the guy who did like the second one of those. I think he did it in like 2013 or 14. I have all the facts written down, and I need to formulate my questions. I need to make all the overlays and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we're going to transition into that last subject, which is
Yep.
Chris Mellon of the Mellon fucking dynasty, being interviewed by Linda Moulton Howe. I know I have my views about Linda, and I know you
Yeah.
do. I know you do too.
Of course. Yeah.
What did you say to me that one time when I said, "Hey, did you
Oh,
hear about Linda Moulton Howe?"
I'm
And you said, "What did she say?"
I'm pretty sure I called her a crazy old bitch, but yeah, I
No,
mean she's just
I think you
batshit
said something
crazy.
to the tune of, "Oh, she's probably talking about some cattle."
Yeah, talking about cattle mutilations, bro. That's like literally all she talks about. She
She
fucking
loves cattle mutilations,
the
bro.
the aliens are mutilating our cows and cattle and using surgical like instruments and no blood. Like, oh my god, they're fucking eating cheeseburgers. Holy shit. Who gives a fuck?
Dude, everyone
we
loves
we
cheeseburgers.
we
God
have
damn it.
fucking torture chambers for chickens, and
Yeah.
you're worried that fucking ETs might be fucking literally
Chomping down on some cattle.
eating a steak after saving our planet. Like, who cares? They're saving us. They're not fucking touching us. Like, I wish they would have abduct her ass.
Oh
If
my god.
abductions were real, they'd fucking give her back, bro. That's it. Nope.
Oh god. Anyway, uh, on to her 1970s looking video. All right, we're back on Total Disclosure live with a September 28th interview. Is time running out for Congress to pass U.S. UFO whistleblower protections? Now, this is the talk of the town. when it comes to UFOs right now is about, that's what the article. That's why we read that article in combination with this, because they talk about the NDAA, which is the basically, it's protecting whistleblowers, so they can go in front of Congress and testify under oath without compromising their either active duty career or their veteranship status.
Suspending security clearances for those who report unidentified aerial phenomena. Can
you hear that?
Take, let's say, a real world scenario where there is a pilot who has just flown and comes back and reports, and they have radar, and it is an encounter with something that is definitely not human made, and he is asked to sign a non-disclosure agreement today. How would events change if this amendment becomes law in 2023?
There's legislation in both the House and Senate, and there's some differences between them. Part of what is motivating this is that Congress asked DOD, insisted that they create an office for all UAP reports from across the Defense Department, all the services and the agencies. That organization formed, and the personnel in that organization, however, and have a sense that they're still not getting all the information. The bigger problem was really one of stigma and people being afraid to report anything just because it would damage their career to begin with. A guy returns from a carrier, lands on the deck. It's like, am I going to tell them what I just saw out there and risk not getting promoted? An even more acute problem in the Air Force, which is really hostile to this issue culturally. It continues to be. And I encountered that when I was in the Defense Department. There are a lot of allegations and concerns that the UAP task force and its successor, now called Arrow, which is going to have a new name after this defense bill is passed, that they're running into roadblocks. They're not getting in all the information. They're aware of many rumors, many allegations about things like Roswell.
Oh, shit.
That they're somewhere out there exists or may exist within the aerospace industry or under the CIA or something, some sub rosa operation that
thought about a
been run off the books.
It's about time.
That Congress is not informed of, that wasn't necessarily appropriated properly. And so they're trying to ensure that those people can come forward without fear of reprisal and share whatever information they have.
And yet, as a reporter, the last 43 years just trying to understand an evolution from animal mutilations linked to UFOs.
Oh, gosh. You just had to throw that in there.
Linked to UFOs. Coming up into the century we're in now, that I have had so many frank discussions.
I'm sorry, I have to go back.
Worked in Minuteman missile
Has
silos.
nothing to do with
my own brother was in.
Where was it?
The last 43 years just trying to understand an evolution from animal mutilations linked to UFOs, to human abductions linked to UFOs.
Clip that out.
Coming up into the century we're in now, that I have had so many frank discussions with people who were either pilots, worked in Minuteman missile silos. My own brother was in one of the, where there was a size of a football field, 300 feet in diameter, glowing orange over Kilo 7 in Malmstrom Air Force Base. And my brother was there in a wing command party. Everybody is getting
but
the
you didn't put a message on it.
Thank you for going off in mission.
Thank you for the $5 super
close
chat.
To what this is.
Bob Lazar is
and
what?
That whole story.
Bob
but
Lazar
my
was
brother is my firsthand, and he was there. But after the crash itself,
like
a whole lot of
like government plant.
It rose up and Doppler to.
That's actually not a bad theory.
Yeah, but I don't believe it to be accurate. If anybody's the plan, it would be like a Lou Elizondo. Bob Lazar has no threat narrative attached to it at all.
Yeah,
I think he was an unexpected whistleblower, and they've done pretty well at preventing anyone like him since then. But they also did do a damn good job of trying to discredit him, and with his education, with fucking et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and that's why like so we the education in question is the Stanford education, not the Stanford education. Well, yes, I think it's
Los Alamos and
no,
MIT maybe.
Los Alamos is virtually confirmed because we got the phone book and he was in the phone book,
Yeah,
and they've gone back and forth on saying yes and no like over the years. So we just kind of go with yes at this point.
yeah,
So we know he was, worked at Los Alamos National Labs in uh, uh, and then was, recruited after being in the paper for coming up with this jet engine
yeah,
car. And then he was recruited by the government after something really bad happened to his the person before him, and they needed someone on the fly. So they didn't have
yeah,
time to take a year to find a real fucking replacement. So they ended up choosing Lazar on the fly, needing
yeah,
a quick replacement and needing someone who is able to take these hypothetical fucking technologies, hypothetical to what we think now, generally, and apply it to actual physical science,
yeah.
and see if we could reverse engineer it. That's a
Propulsion.
fucking believable. And he was an expert in propulsion. And what
Yeah,
was he brought in to do or to look at? This extreme form of propulsion that we had no idea was.
technology.
Yeah.
And
So
one of the crafts apparently came from an archaeological dig too. Speaking of
yeah,
dinosaurs, they were
that's
looking for
crazy.
dinosaur bones and
That's
found a fucking
crazy.
UFO. It makes sense though, bro, because like it all connects and all adds up. You know what I'm saying? Once you accept it and you look back at stories like that, the ones that anything that doesn't have a threat narrative to it, and you're like, okay, that lines up with all of it. So
Right. Right. I think. All right. So let's finish this.
yeah, yeah,
Was in one of the where there was a size of a football field, 300 feet in diameter, glowing orange over Kilo 7 in Malmstrom Air Force Base. And my brother was there in a wing command party. Everybody is getting the beeps and are going off in mission to get close to what this is. And that whole story, but my brother is my firsthand, and he was there. But after the craft itself, which a whole lot of people saw, it rose up and Doppler I think it was 200,000 feet off of radar. And then it just popped out. And all of the people who were in helicopters, jets, in Central Security Command, they all knew this was going on, the radar operators. But after, everybody is told that they're not to talk about it. We all learned about it because of leaks in Clear Intent, which was a book by Larry Fawcett, a police officer in Connecticut, who did a lot of work trying to find out what was
Thank
behind
you so much,
pilot
Billy. We love you too, man.
reports concerning UFOs. And because my own brother was there, and I know my brother, and I know he was telling the truth. But that goes all the way back to 1975.
There's no argument here from me about the fact that there's all kinds of information about incidents like that. For example, Robert Salas and Hastings' great book about UFOs and nukes. And in many of those cases, though, there were no, even though oftentimes people reportedly were warned, they weren't necessarily signing any kind of security agreement or signing a non-disclosure agreement. They were sometimes told just don't talk about it, which is, par for the course in the military, the intelligence community anyway. But there's a big issue there, no question about it. And Representative Gallagher himself raised that at the open public hearing, as you probably saw. He asked about the stories about the interference of nuclear weapons. And so the great thing is that we're now in a position, hopefully, to finally get to the bottom of this. They're mandating a document review. The General Accounting Office is being directed to go back and review UAP documentation from the services all the way back to World War II. The legislation says 47.
And that today, this non-disclosure agreement amendment, would it actually allow people who were military and they've signed
So this is the
NDAs
part that I want
about
to
a
hear.
UFO encounter, would it allow them to come forward and talk about
My
what they
understanding is that's its intent and purpose. Yes.
retroactive?
Yeah. Not to talk to the press about it, but they would be able to go to the UAP office, oversight office, and talk to them about it, or they would be able to approach Capitol Hill without fear that the Air Force would
And that's a huge
prosecute
step
them
forward.
or
Yeah.
discharge them under, dishonorably or something like that.
Okay, so that's one thing.
Because a lot of pilots don't report shit because they don't want to be able to.
Amendment
They don't want to get their
joins in the
wings taken away.
Authorization
They don't
Act
want to lose
and
their ability
it
to fly.
becomes law. Then, if somebody
That's a
had
real
signed
problem.
an NDA before it became law,
Correct.
it would be retroactive.
That is my understanding. Correct.
All right, but they might not be able to stand in front of my camera
Oh, no.
and talk to me.
The
as
act
to the
doesn't say
press.
that. I mean, it doesn't
Fuck you, Linda.
unilaterally declassify or attempt to everything related to UAPs. What it attempts to do is establish a procedure within official channels
Right.
for people in the services and agencies to share information with the office that is now in charge of integrating, collecting all the information within the Defense Department. And then there are some other provisions as well, as you were quoting. And of course, it still has to go to conference. There's different language in the House and Senate. We're not seeing the final version yet. This may change in the conference process when the House and Senate sit down to go over the language together. I know that there are some concerns bubbling up from not surprisingly, from some people in the executive branch who have issues about how this might be implemented and play out. So there's a discussion going on. But soon we'll know. It's not long before we should see the final version of this legislation, and then we'll be able to.
Do you notice that Chris is alluding to an intergovernmental fight that's going on about disclosure, basically? So there's been a lot of rumors lately, and for a long time, that there is a faction inside the government that want disclosure. They want the truth out there. They think it's time.
Decent humans, bro. I mean, that's just decent humanity.
But then there's this other other group of people who, whether it's faith-based, like whether they're hardcore, zealots, like religious zealots, or just, don't think that we can handle it. They're the ones that are trying to block it at every corner.
Of course.
At least in the legal sense of and sometimes people have even said that it's gone further into some really, really criminal actions. Like, I hate to get all conspiracy theorist on vodka soda here, but some people say like JFK, the assassination, was tied to his wanting transparency.
I've heard that, and it seems very credible. I mean, it's the biggest secret in human American history. So, and
also MJ-12 documents putting out a hit basically on Marilyn Monroe for things that she heard from Robert Kennedy about our UFO program, about Roswell and all that stuff. So those are obviously speculative, take it with a grain of salt kind of shit. Don't believe me, do the research yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
But that information is out there, and it's plausible.
But something else, bro. Going back to the Chris Mellon and Linda Howell interview, what they're talking about is how pilots and I guess even civilians too. If civilians witness UFO, are we allowed to go to this place?
Yes and no. This is more geared towards military. It's meant for classifications. Like if you have a top secret clearance, and you see a UFO and you report it, and then you lose your clearance because they think you're a kook and your career is over, that's what they're trying to stop. Because most of the people who are the most credible are the ones that we need to pay attention to the most. They won't talk of fear of fear of retribution from their employer.
Ridicule, a lot. There's a lot on the line. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why
Like,
most probably haven't came out. And that's why we don't have as much disclosure as us as the UFO community wants or
yeah,
should have.
like take my friend Kevin Day. Kevin lost his whole life, basically. He lost
Yeah.
his wife, he lost his job in the
Damn.
military, where he was basically pushed into retirement because he was laughed at because of the Tic Tac encounter. You know,
Really.
whether it was, you know, whether that's human or not or whatever, you know, that's a whole nother
It
debate.
still happened, and
It
it's still
still
video
happened.
evidence.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, for
And
sure.
it changed him and his life forever. And he only took heat for this. He did not benefit at all from it for over
Yeah.
you know, over, you know, 15 years. So, you know, to say that you know, this is a small step is it's no,
It's a
it's a
big
big
step for
step.
sure.
It's
But
a
one
big
thing I
step.
wanted to mention, bro, is Dr. Greer had something very similar to this that he announced along with Daniel Sheehan, which I know you know Daniel Sheehan. He's a lawyer also, where people that worked inside the projects like the USAPs that have been reverse engineering these craft, that they can come out since they declared that those businesses or whatever corporations, these organizations are all illegal, and that they had however many days to respond, and if they don't respond, then it's taken as a
Yes.
whatever. So they did that, and so they declared that they're all illegal, and that anyone that does come forward is exempt from any legal ramifications. But this is obviously, you know, government official, and you know, something a little bit different.
Yeah, this is written into Congress. I mean, this is written into law.
I hope that it does add in or whatever people that worked in those unacknowledged special access projects though, and that people like them are allowed to come forward too with the
But
same
just again,
protection. I hope they're offered the same protection as any whistleblower would be.
right. And again, you know, just because someone can now come forward doesn't always mean that they
They
will
will
come
exactly.
forward.
There's still the ridicule and stigma.
Yeah, so
attached.
we have to prepare for that, you know, as well. It's not just going to be a floodgate opening
No.
where, you know, the bill is passed and people are lined up ready to tell their
Yeah,
stories.
of course not.
This is going to be a process over years
And
to
it's
come.
for the future. Yeah, it's more for the future and stuff. So, yeah, there are a lot of good people in all over the world, bro. You know what I mean? Like I've said before that I'm anti-government and anti things like that, but I'm not. That's because I'm pro-human, bro. I support humanity. I support peace and prosperity, positivity, and love. So I want humans to evolve to our highest level that we can get to. I want us to be the best version, you know, of humanity that we can be, and that's what I think CE5 is about. And I think that's what a lot of people have, that same mindset and that same mentality, that they want humans to survive and to grow and evolve too. You know, they just they just don't know how to do it. And I don't have all the answers myself either, but I believe that the ETs have a lot more answers than I do. So that's why I do trust them, and I do, you know, I do believe that they'll be able to help guide us in the future,
as they maybe once guided
as
us
they
in
always
the
have,
past.
as I believe that they always have, as ancient astronaut theorists suggest, bro.
Do you now is it possible that, you know, this is, you know, that this is the umpteenth time that they're about to help us advance? Because
It's gotta be, bro. They've been here all along covertly. So as long as humans have been here, they've been here also helping us, but all behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? Just like how whenever
why
we
not
make a
help us
movie and stuff, we
directly?
have behind the scenes, they produce whatever. Yeah, and at times they do it directly, and they do
Well, no,
overtly.
I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about like.
What'd you say?
No, I'm talking about why not be open about it? Why not?
Oh,
Why didn't
because
we?
that
Why didn't
messes
we
with
grow
our
up in a
natural
world?
evolution. That would mess with that would conflict with our natural evolution. So that's why they do it on every planet, because they don't. You know, we have to learn on our own and evolve on our own as much as possible. They can't just
Right.
give us everything, or else we would blow ourselves up, or you know what I'm saying, whatever. They
That
want
probably
they want
that
each species to.
that probably would, if there is such thing as a galactic federation, that would
Mhm.
probably be rule number one, is that
Yeah,
you cannot interfere with a civilization, um,
their evolution.
with their evolution until comes a time where they are seen fit,
Yeah,
where people could
like
handle.
a nuclear detonation, you know, like a nuclear war, stuff like that is where they would have to, you know, overtly like be here and interfere. But if they did any other way, like especially they know now, if they did anything like that where they interfered now, that we would shoot them down. And even if we didn't shoot them down, we would use their presence as being a threat. You know, just oh, they're in our airspace, they're anywhere, they're just here. We use that as a threat and say that they're here, you know, and that would start the, you know, intergalactic war that they've been wanting to do all along. So that's why they don't do it, is because they know that we're trigger happy,
eh,
fucking war addicted, you know, species, bro.
yeah.
Not just
eh,
America. All countries have
I like to think.
militaries and are addicted.
Yeah, I like to think that, the good would prevail in, in a real life situation. Hopefully, honestly, hopefully we get to witness that. For better or worse, I want to be here for it. I wanna see it happen, and pretty soon we're gonna be doing these. I mean, when do you think you're gonna get back to doing C5 and getting showing us how to do it, and getting
I
on
know.
camera?
I know, bro. Your guess is as good as mine. As soon as I stop being lazy, in all honesty, bro. As soon as
Well,
I start trying again.
content creation doesn't have a time for laziness.
I know, bro. I know. I'm ready to start, bro. I honestly might do it tonight. I mean, it really, you can do it whenever, and that's what's so great about it. And that's why the fact that I've had such great contact in those months that I did, it's like I do still want to make contact, but I'm honestly super happy. Like I knock on wood, I don't want to die until I'm 200 years old, but I feel super like accomplished. Like if I did have to die tonight or tomorrow, that I would still be happy because I saw a silver disc above my house. I saw so many orbs. I saw all these sightings, and it was
Mm.
such a great experience that it's like I still want to have more and more of those. But it's such a fulfilling. Such a fulfillment that I have that same fire inside me whenever I was trying to make like my first contact and I started making contact, to where I was like, literally, it's almost like addicting, bro. Once you start doing it and you start having success, it's almost like a drug, bro, where you get such a high, you get such dopamine, your brain gets so stimulated from it. It's like you're on psychedelic drug or on social media playing video game, whatever, where you get all that dopamine and you're just like, fuck yeah, this is fucking, it's like injecting it straight into your veins, bro. And they literally call UFO, like the UFO videos and stuff, UFO porn, bro. They call it UFO porn because it literally can be addicting. And CE5 does seem too good to be true, bro. That's why whenever I saw the fucking Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, I thought the same thing. I'm like, this is fucking the best thing ever. It's literally, it sounds too good to be true. Like I just couldn't believe that there was a possible way that it could work, that you could contact UFOs and that it would actually work, bro. I thought it was just like, it's what I've been always hoping for. Even though before I believed in UFOs, I always was like curious about extraterrestrial life, and I knew from watching History Channel about like SETI and how they had all this technology and these $1 million telescopes and shit looking for radio signals from alien life. And I'm always like, wow, I hope they get a fucking signal back. And even though it'd take a fucking billion years to go there and back, I always was like, okay, well, they'll be the ones that, if aliens exist, they'll find out. Fuck no, bro. It's not how it works at all. Just like Hollywood movies, it doesn't show how UFOs and aliens actually work. But sorry
Yeah.
for the rant.
Well, in Hollywood they need to keep making money as well, so that they do other things to
They
they, they
copy each other though. Basically, they do what they know, and they do what's like popular and what scary, whatever, what's already
yeah, I
been
mean
done.
that's
That's
the
that's a
movies.
Hollywood old trick, is
Yeah, movies
do
are
what's already been
stories,
done, but a little bit
but
different.
subsequently, because of Hollywood, we've been kind of programmed to think of alien
Real life.
invasion. Alien
Yeah,
invasion. It's
yeah.
always an invasion
Or
or a threat
abduction.
or abduction or threat or resource
A fight
stealing,
or a fight, just like
a fight. Yeah, chaos in general. So let's
always negative.
let's do our job. Let's do our part in getting rid of that stigma, getting rid of
That
that
mindset, bro.
that
It's that
mindset.
mindset, that negative mindset. It's like, why is it too good? Why would it be too good to be true? Why do we not deserve to have a good life, or for humans to even not even good for us to survive? Why is that too good? It's like we've had we've done such shitty things to ourselves and made our situation, our reality, such a shitty place to live at times for a lot of people. A lot of people are depressed, bro. A lot of people are living in poverty. A lot of people have a lot worse lives than us. And, humans have done that to ourselves, though. But for us to think that there's no answer is depressing. But the fact is, C5 is a possible solution that we can use and, help literally save humanity. So I think we deserve it, bro, because at the heart of it, humans are good. And even our worst people, are still humans, and we're still good people, I think, at the end of the day, deep down. So I think we do deserve it, bro, and we do deserve to be happy and evolve and have a great fucking life.
Agreed. Thank you everyone for tuning in for tonight's Total Disclosure Live. Sundays are going to be the interview pod, like the actual not Total Disclosure Live, but the actual podcast will be on Sundays. That'll be the official day. Tomorrow, we're going to be doing the episode with Paradigm Research Group's creator. Look at that little bit. Oh my God.
It's Mr. Ralph. He's a crankster.
Oh God. So yeah, we'll be on with Stephen Bassett of the Paradigm Research Group. So thrilled to do this interview. This is one of the people I've looked up to in the community for so long. And then I truly can't wait to be a part of it and take part in it. So for everyone who's watching, tune in tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern time as we kick off our interview with Stephen Bassett. Going to be super fun. One-on-one exclusive interview. Also, don't forget, this upcoming week we'll be reviewing the In Plain Sight documentary film for its release on October 9th, as well as Moment of Contact when that comes out. Still haven't been able to get it.
I think that's October 8th. It comes out pretty soon.
Yeah, 8th and 9th. So we do have some documentaries coming out. Also, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and join our membership. Sharing is caring, and it's free. Ring the notification bell for more content like this. And what did you? Are you watching the Game of Thrones show?
I've never watched Game of Thrones, bro.
Oh my God!
Never
I just
watched
lost
it.
so much respect.
I've heard it's great. I'm a big TV fan. I love TV. I love movies. That's all I do with my life, basically. Just watch stuff. So I'm gonna check it out eventually. I know there's a spinoff now.
What about Lord of the Rings? Rings of Power.
I was never a big Lord of the Rings.
All right. So he's just all right. Sorry to let everyone know, but he's just been fired from the show for lack of fucking awareness. No, I'm just kidding. But it's a good time to be a nerd right now because not only are we able to watch more Game of Thrones, but we're able to watch more fucking Lord of the Rings right now. And not to mention, we have a Star Wars series, a Marvel series.
Bro, there's
all
so much
happening at
stuff
the
to
same
watch.
time.
There's so many streaming services and stuff. Like the past couple of years, there's just been like an unlimited amount of TV and movies and stuff. It's honestly kind of mind blowing and overwhelming.
And starting this month, we're going to be going back to the Pop Culture Corner. Doing more of the TV and movie stuff. Don't worry, it's not gone. For anyone who thinks it is not. Look, I still have all the stuff here, as if I could just jump right over into it, as if it was alive.
Hey, I do like the Avengers though, bro. So
yeah,
I am a Marvel fan. I love Avengers. And
this is want to see our Marvel style open?
Yeah. I'm a big DC fan too. I'm a big Batman fan, I should say. I like Mr. Freeze needs his own fucking movie, bro. I've been saying this for so long. Mr. Freeze needs his own fucking origin spin-off movie.
Like they've actually been talking about that recently. With the
I've got
success
Mr. Freeze chain, bro, and
with the success of the Joker, and now they're
Yeah.
making the Joker 2 with
oh yeah,
Harley Quinn and
the
Lady
director
Gaga.
said that. I saw the
Yeah.
the director whoever said that. I wish they fucking would, bro. He's the best superhero. I mean, best supervillain. I think he's awesome. I love the Joker movies too. I love the Joker. Batman Beyond was my favorite cartoon, like superhero cartoon.
Yeah, it was a good. That was Batman Beyond is legendary.
So fire.
Obviously, Batman the animated series
Yeah,
is
that one too. I watched that one a lot too.
Yeah, but we so just so everyone knows, the comic book material and that stuff is not gone. It's not dead. Just because we talk about UFOs does not mean I'm not going to be jumping back over and talking about the things that that the stuff that started it all, and it all started here with our film and television division, if you will. So don't worry. But guys, make sure to smash that like and share button. Share the show on social media. Subscribe if you haven't already, and follow us on all social media platforms. See the link in the description below. Become a member of the show by clicking join below. Click from one of 4 variations. Pretty much all get the same things, but just choose what you think the show is worth to you, and then give that. It does go a lot into doing this. Doing this shit isn't free. The StreamYard alone costs me $50 a month. So, it's things like that, right? So so it's not free to make the show, and we ask that you give back if you can. If you can't, just share and subscribe, and it's all the same to us. Check out our merch shop below, and we'll see you tomorrow for what is going to be an absolutely thrilling conversation. Meanwhile, I have to jump back over here so we can get the correct outro.
Nice.
Little Pop Tart, say goodbye.
Hey, I'll see you guys next time. Have a great night. Pop Tart out.